If Canada joined the U.S., the flag would be updated to include 51 stars.
Breaking news, 13% of Canadians are wanting to become the 51st state.
You know how Trump said Canada should become the 51st state? I have the greatest response for Trudeau. All he has to say to Trump is, yeah, we'll become the 51st state. We just get to keep our healthcare system, education system, standing army, RCMP, Canadian dollar. The only difference is we get freedom of movement and zero tariffs. Then we'll become the greatest state in the world, Canada, USA. Not sure if you want the French people, but we'll throw it in anyways, baby.
Is Canada ready to become the 51st state? Former President Donald Trump sparked controversy with his recent Truth Social post following Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's resignation announcement.
Many people in Canada love being the 51st state. The United States can no longer suffer the massive trade deficits and subsidies that Canada needs to stay afloat. Justin Trudeau knew this and resigned. If Canada merged with the U.S., there would be no tariffs, taxes would go way down, and they would be totally secure from the threat of the Russian and Chinese ships that are constantly surrounding them. Together, what a great nation it would be.
Canada to become the 51st state, I would absolutely love if Canada became the 51st state, and I'm going to tell you why. Right now in Canada, our productivity as a country has fallen off of a cliff. The last 9 out of 10 quarters we've had a negative GDP per capita growth. This is terrible for our standard of living. We need to wake up as Canadians and realize that we need to be productive. We need to be investing in research and development. And when I say productive, I'm not talking about, oh, the people that are here don't work hard enough. That's not what I'm talking about. We need to deregulate. We need to be investing in research and development. And this is not just me saying that. This is economists at banks. This is the Bank of Canada. This is a lot of people that are, they help shape the economy of Canada. We need to wake up. We need to unleash energy. I'm super confident with the Trump presidency that once the Conservatives come into power, we're going to have a majority government. We can actually get some stuff done. Wake up. But man, as Canada, we are falling off of a cliff, and our standard of living has fallen off of a cliff. I mean, just go anywhere. Look how expensive it is. How do people live? We got to wake up, guys.
And the fuckery continues, folks. I'll tell you, I've never been more embarrassed in my entire life to be Canadian. I travel a lot for work. I'm in the United States all the time. And I'm constantly trying to defend myself when I'm being peppered with questions about what's going on with their neighbors up north. And to be honest, it's hard to give them an answer. I don't really understand it myself. How did we get here? How did we fucking get here? What happened over the last 9 years? Well, I'll tell you what happened. We let a narcissistic egomaniac run the country, which many of you supported, pushing his ideological agendas that made no sense down every Canadian's throat. And he has single-handedly dismantled any sense of cultural identity in this country. He's ruined our country. It's happened. And the question is, can we actually come back from this? Will Poilievre actually make a difference when he comes in? So what? He's going to axe the carbon tax. Big deal. The damage is already done. And then we have people like Donald Trump laughing at Canadians, and rightly so, I might add, calling us the 51st state. And then we get all of our members of parliament and the leaders of those parties say, we will never become the 51st state. Well, wait a minute. Maybe we should become the 51st state. And think about this here. Before you get mad, think about this. We've lost our cultural identity. And as a matter of fact, when you really look at it, our country was established in 1867 from land we stole from the indigenous people. We murdered and raped and pillaged and took the land on a deal that was advantageous to us, and we segregated an entire community and probably committed genocide. And this is our country now. Well, I'm not really sure. Like, when you look at it, and you look at it over the last couple of 100 years, do we even have the right to have this country anymore? And maybe we should become the 51st state. And think about this. If Canada became the 51st state, our national debt, $1.2 trillion, would be wiped away. Gone. Interesting. We could dismantle a number of different governmental institutions and get rid of them. The CRA. There's been a 40% increase in government employees since this dickhead has been in power. We could get rid of the CRA entirely. We could simplify our tax, one of the most complicated tax systems in the world. We become a state. We could operate independently. We could deregulate. We could become one of the wealthiest states in the Americas. If we increased our oil production by 30%, we could become a tax-free state. And here's the real kicker. What if they took our dollar at par? Your $1 Canadian turns into $1.40 American. People could become rich overnight. I mean, it's not as easy as that. And yes, there might be challenges, but maybe it's not such a bad idea. We become the state of Canada. We become part of the United States. We strengthen our military. They're already our biggest trading partner. We're already really a part of them anyway. So maybe that wouldn't be such a bad idea. Just maybe there's more of a tactful way to do it. Because otherwise, I don't know how Poilievre's going to come in here and fix the damage that's already been done. It's irreparable. It's irreparable. Every facet of government would need to be rebuilt. And I just don't know if it's possible. But maybe we could have a clean slate and start again. Start as a state. We love our American neighbors, do we not? I don't know. What do you think? Is it a bad idea? You tell me. What if you could get a new lease on life? What if you could start fresh? What if you could start with no debt? That might not be a bad idea. It could change a lot of people's lives overnight.
Hey guys, news just in from one of the news stations in Canada here about us being the 51st state of the United States. They're running off of poll information that ran online from December 6th to December 9th. So 13% of that polling suggested it would be a good idea for Canada to become the next U.S. state. But quite honestly, they didn't mention these numbers on there. They just said that this poll was the be-all, end-all. We don't want to join Canada. But you asked 1,520 people, actually, is the correct number. Nah, you're not even coming close. I don't know if Justin's calling you. He's on vacation. He shouldn't be calling anybody. Figure out what he's doing. Yeah, I don't understand. Maybe you're getting your information from him and he's telling you to push these reports out anyway, and the numbers don't even add up. He didn't ask everybody. He didn't ask me. He didn't ask my neighbor. He didn't ask nobody. So you didn't ask the postal workers who crapped all over. But yeah, so the other thing too, I'm just going to mention right quick, Jagmeet Singh, on Wikipedia, you can go on there and look at this guy, but he doesn't qualify for his pension until we get to that election that's supposed to be held in September. If we don't get there, he doesn't get that pension. So when he's saying all things are on the table, all things are on the table, yeah, obviously your pension's on the table, bud. I wouldn't go against the Liberals either. I would sell out for that pension, you know. Instead of doing a good job and sinking that government long ago so we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in, you know, I might have considered voting for you and giving you my support if you actually did something. But you didn't do anything. You backed those guys up. You're running a very bad political campaign here. And I hope you don't get any votes. I hope you don't get any. The Liberals don't get any. And then we'll divvy up the other candidates and see who we think is going to do a good job. Or we do a countrywide vote on this 51st state thing. And yeah, we get the true number, not some fabricated, biased poll that they're now stating as fact. That was done a week and a half ago. Don't make sense to me.
So for all you who, you know, are saying, oh, Trump's slapping us with tariffs and he's trying to annex us and this and that, slow it down, okay? He's actually doing what he's doing in order for our government to get their shit together. He says, basically, I'm going to slap you with a 25% tariff if you don't get your fucking border in check. Because your border is right on ours. And if your border is messed up, we're not about that life. So he's like actually speeding up the process of our government starting to actually do something that will be in the best interest for Canadians. Do you guys understand? Okay? He's not trying to invade, guys. But he's actually done more for this country already than JT ever has. So, you know, sometimes it takes a little bit of balls and sternness to get shit done, and that's what Trump brings to the United States. Canada will always be Canada. We're Canadian. We're going to make Canada great again. Don't worry about the United States, our allies, invading us. Okay? It's not going to happen. And, you know, it's a joke. The 51st state. Guys, learn how to take a joke. You guys are way too fucking serious. Take it down a notch. Smoke a spliff. Take it easy. Canada first.
I have a message for Donald Trump from the people he likes to call the 51st state. Governor Trudeau has been on a permanent vacation since he met with you at Mar-a-Lago. He refuses to acknowledge your continuous posts about becoming the 51st state of America. Not once. He is straight up hiding, and guess what? He absolutely despises being called weak. So, in his absence, the Canadian people would like to speak to you. First of all, we do not want to become the 51st state. We acknowledge that our current leadership is weak, woke, and broke Canada. That is why a lot of Canadians would actually accept becoming the 51st state, something that was absolutely unthinkable just 9 years ago. Canadians are desperate, and they're literally willing to accept anything just to get Justin Trudeau out. So, the people of Canada have a proposal for you. We 100% do not want Justin Trudeau to resign. No. And guess what? It doesn't benefit you, and it doesn't benefit the people of Canada. And I'll tell you why. It's because if he resigns, we have to wait 3 months for a leadership race. And then once that occurs, we have to wait another 37 days for the election to occur. That means if he steps down, we need to wait till July to have an election in Canada. So what I'm proposing to you is you tell Justin Trudeau that he needs to have a snap election immediately, or you will impose a 1,000% tariff on Canadian imports on day one. And the tariffs will stay until that snap election is announced and a date is set. With a 1,000% tariff, we will have an election in Canada by February, latest in March. We understand that the Liberals have bashed you 197 times in the House of Commons, calling you right-wing and MAGA, and called Pierre Poilievre the Maple Leaf MAGA of Canada. We also know you absolutely despise talking to Chrystia Freeland, let alone negotiate with her, and we know you don't want to negotiate with Trudeau either. Why would you strike a deal with someone that's going to be out automatically in 10 months or less? Having a February or March election would benefit the U.S. tremendously. That way, you can start negotiating a tremendous deal right away. It's easy making great deals with common sense people making common sense deals. It's a two-way win. Together with Canada and the U.S., we would create the fastest growing economies ever recorded in history. Together, we are stronger. On day one, we will remove the cap on oil and gas and unwind all of the radical environmental policies. We will provide you with the resources that you need. It's a no-brainer. And hey, if you still want to call us the 51st state, go ahead. But we will be our own nation. You don't want the 20% of liberal voters that we have left to become American, do you? A message from the 51st state of Canada.
Canada should become the 51st states in the United States. Here's why. As it stands, Trudeau has resigned. Canada is doing worse than it's ever done. They need more money, more influx. They need essentially a big brother to step up and take care of them. America is that big brother. We can defend them from the people at their border, swimming around their border. We can help them economically. Essentially everything a big brother does for the little brother, which is Canada. Canada is of no use to the United States. So why would we take them up as the 51st state? We would have to fix a ton of stuff. How would that be beneficial to America? As it stands, we have a large immigration problem here in America. People coming from everywhere. What does that mean for America? The United States needs more room for these immigrants. Now, immigration brings hard workers. So we need to accept that a lot of immigrants do a lot of work. Some of the jobs that people don't want to do, but we need more room for them. And I believe particularly in the North, there's plenty of room. We can build the infrastructure. We can give Canadians new jobs, building infrastructure to house these people. Not only that, but build factories to put them to work. I think it's a great idea. Canada, the 51st state of the United States of America, the biggest state, in fact. That'd be amazing.
Not so fun fact, but if the United States tries to invade Canada, our plan is literally to just hand over the keys as quickly as possible to avoid any unneeded loss of life. 2023, Canada's military budget was almost 26 billion. The United States was almost 800 billion. In terms of troops, that means Canada has 68,000. The United States is 1.3 million. Canada doesn't even have nuclear weapons, so there is really no battle. It's just instant loss.
Canada needs to become the 51st state of the US, just like Donald Trump wants. And there are many reasons why. First off, the currency here is shit, and you can make so much more money in the US. I've been to the US countless times at this point in the last few years, and the level of money I see there compared to over here, it's overwhelming. And the Canadian dollar, or should I call it the Canadian rupee, because it's so cheap, it's nothing compared to the US, and it keeps slipping. The US dollar is so much more, and it is the standard for what a dollar is. Second off, culturally, what really is the difference between the Canada and the US? I live in Toronto, and I feel like it's an extension of the US. And if I see people, let's say I'm going on a flight, and I'm talking to someone, I could tell that they're either Canadian or American. I can't tell which one they are, but I could usually tell that they're either from Canada or America. But me being a Canadian, I don't know if someone's a Canadian or an American because we have the same accent. Unless you're talking to like someone from the ghetto, then obviously you could tell a Toronto hoodman accent and how people from the hoods in the States sound. Their accents are different, but like a well-mannered person, you cannot tell if they're Canadian or American. You can't compare it to when they're from the UK or Australia, where you can 100% tell the accent difference between a British or Australian versus a Canadian. Third off, the Second Amendment. If we could have the Second Amendment and be able to own our own strap, like in the States, then we'd be able to protect ourselves legally. And I know the goal is for less blickies to be on the streets, but realistically, they're going to be here anyways. They're going to get shipped from the US. People are going to bring them in illegally. So whether they're legal or not is not going to change whether people are going to have them. And as you can see, loads of people have them in Toronto. It's so easy to get one here. Let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree?
So y'all did not hear this from me, but Donald Trump, if you want to take over Canada, this is how you're going to do it. I think there's like a 1900 manifesto that says Canada, US, and Mexico should be one supercontinent. America already has Alaska, so to connect Alaska to Canada is not that difficult, but it requires a lot of strategic thinking. The 48 Laws of Power and Art of War would definitely be helpful right now. Trump, what you're going to do is, in the 2000s, Quebec almost separated from Canada, so it's not hard to get a vote passed to separate a province from the country. The special ingredient here is working with Indigenous people of Canada, which already make up the huge population of Alberta and BC. Indigenous people in Canada already have a really bad relationship with the Crown. So if you could promise and deliver on the 94 calls of action that support Indigenous sovereignty and decolonize what the heck Britain did, give a better deal to Native people and you might get your 51st state.